Today I want to talk about how hours are not related to productivity whatsoever. And I also want to talk about how to take advantage of remote work. So the first thing we need to address is hours are not productivity. A lot of us are working at home, or a lot of you guys are working at home now, and you might be working more hours. And now some of you might be taking advantage of the situation, working like 0 hours, and no one seems to notice that you're doing any more or less work. And that's kind of my point. But there are some companies out there which are asking their employees to really do more hours and really come through for the company, come through for the team. And hours worked does not mean you're getting more stuff done. I'm sure we've all worked 2-3 hours and gotten more work done in those 2-3 hours than we did in an entire 2-3 days at work. And so when a boss says, can you really come through for us here? You can go above and beyond by doing your job well within those 40 hours. Above and beyond does not mean that you need to work more hours. So usually if people want to get a raise, they start staying at the office longer and putting in more hours, and that doesn't mean anything. You can be eligible for a raise just by doing your job well within the time, 9 to 5, that they have you at the office. If you go to the CEO and you ask him how many hours he works, he's probably going to say, well, it doesn't really matter, I don't keep track. Because it doesn't matter as long as he's being productive with his business. And especially in knowledge work, which is programming or things where tasks are done up here, you can work kind of whenever and wherever. And being online on Slack or at your computer or not doing anything else but work stuff doesn't mean that you're getting work stuff done. I could be in the shower thinking about how to solve problems, and that technically counts as work. But are you billing those hours? Are you counting those hours as work? No, we're probably not. But you should, right before you go to sleep at night and you're thinking about work and you figure out that problem that you've been struggling with all day, that is work. Anytime you're thinking about work in the software area, that counts as work, in addition to actually doing the work. And a lot of people think that you just have to be typing on the keyboard. The keyboard is where you go to test the answers and the solutions that you found up here, but it's not where you go to do the work. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about, more hours is more work. And a lot of people are like, you need to work 100 hours a week. Like, your brain actually has a capacity for how much stuff you can learn and how much stuff you can get done in a day before you actually have to take a break. It's a diminishing return. The more hours you work, after that point, the less you're going to get done every hour after that. I just don't want people to fall into the trap that you think that you just need to work more hours to be a better employee. You can be a better employee within the time of the week of 9 to 5. You don't need to spend the rest of your weekend there as well for that to count. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is how not to waste this remote working opportunity. There are a lot of you guys out there that are working remote, getting a taste of that sweet, sit at home in your pajamas and do work life, and you're probably not going to want to go back. And so here's what you need to be doing if you think that your company is going to make you come back. You need to be keeping notes, kind of itemizing everything that you're doing while you're at home. And so that when they call you back in, you can come in with that paper and you say, hey, look, here's everything I did when I was at home. I got so much more work done. I was way more focused. The quality of my work went up. You just need to have evidence. It's kind of like when you go in to ask for a raise. If you want to go in to ask for a raise, you typically bring in a checklist of everything that you've done for the company to bring them more money. And you need to have reasons why you think you deserve a piece of that more money. Same thing with this. If they call you back in, you need to come in and you need to have reasons of everything that you have been doing at home that made you a better employee than you would be at the office. Now, maybe you're not exactly a better employee and you're still at home. You still need to be keeping notes, and you need to be emphasizing that, hey, I really like that. It made me a happier employee, which made me more motivated, more excited to do the work for you guys. Another thing that I would recommend if you're working at home is to not really think about the hours. I know I just talked about this a second ago, but stop thinking about the hours you're doing every single day. Take as many breaks as you want. I mean, I'm sure a lot of companies are going to have core hours that overlap, and they're like, oh, well, we need you here between here and here, but that doesn't mean you can't be doing other things. As long as you're getting your work done, as long as the output is there and the managers can see it and your boss can see it and everyone's satisfied, I would stop thinking about the hours that you're doing. Because again, now that you're at home, it's going to be really tempting to mix work and life together, and then you end up working while you're living life, and they're probably not going to pay you for that. So I would just totally throw hours out of the window, and I would just make sure that you get your work done and that you're available to chat with the people at your company. Another thing I would do if you're working remote is to work on a side hustle. So get your work done, and then don't just like hang out for the rest of the day. Work on something else. Work on something that you can leverage in case they bring you back and then they fire you all. Work on something. Just give something a shot, some sort of side hustle. Build something. Don't just sit and play video games and play WoW, because I guarantee you, you are wasting this opportunity if you are just finishing your work early and relaxing. And I would recommend against that. You need to have, there is no job security, so you need to build some of that in. And now none of you have the excuse, well, I was at work 8 hours and I had the 1 hour commute there and 1 hour commute back and I'm tired. And that doesn't, you don't have that excuse anymore. You got to figure out what kind of person you are, if you're a morning person or an evening person, and then you need to save that block of time to do your best work for yourself, which is build a side hustle. I don't know if that's a side business for you, work on a product, or learn a set of new skills, but it sounds really bad. It sounds really bad, but I'm just gonna say it because that's how I am, is don't give the company the best hours of your day. I mean, you can get work done, but don't give the company the best hours of your day. Always use the best hours of your day, the morning hours, evening hours, whatever. Those hours, use them to build something for yourself. You can still do good work with the rest of your hours that you're awake and you're there, but we all have that, brief moment of time throughout the day when we're doing our best work. And I would say, if you're at home, take advantage of that and put that to use for you. Don't give it to them. Build something for you. One other thing about working remote is that the company probably doesn't like it if they were forced into letting you be remote. And so those notes I was talking about a little earlier can also help you when the company inevitably decides, hey, this isn't going very well and we can't see what anyone's doing, and we're going to require everyone download some micromanagement software so that it's going to take screenshots every 5 minutes or whatever, 30 minutes, and we can see exactly what you're doing. And if you go to Facebook or Reddit or wherever, it's going to send us an alert telling us that your URL bar popped off with this in it, and now you're going to get in trouble. And so those notes I was talking about a little earlier can be like, no, look, see, I got everything done. I don't need to be managed. I was very clear with you. I was talking with my coworkers. I checked in every X, Y, and Z time, and you just have notes of everything so you can fight against that if your company wants to go that route later. So I don't know, one of two things is going to happen for all these companies. The company's going to be like, wow, this is fantastic. We are saving so much money on not having to pay utilities and rent and buy a bunch of BS stuff that's just reasons for you to come into the office so we can see what you're doing. Or companies might say, actually, this was terrible. Not only do our employees they're not trustworthy at all, but we're going to bring them all back in the office, and we're still going to make them install all of this monitoring software because this was an absolute nightmare, and we're never going to let anyone work from home again. And so you just kind of want to prepare for both sides of things. All right, so to recap this video, hours and productivity are not really correlated. Don't spend your best hours working for the company. Spend it building something for you or doing something for you that's going to benefit you later in case the company says bye. Number 3, you definitely need to side hustle. Number 4, you need to be keeping some notes so that you can ask to keep your remote or defend yourself from having to install micromanagement software, and defend yourself when they ask you about what you did and all that stuff, because they might bring you all in and they might say, all right, tell us what you did for this entire time and explain why you still need to be, you need to be preparing for those scenarios. So don't waste the scenario, and don't spend it all day playing video games or just taking a vacation. You want to try to build in some security here. Anyways, I guess that's it for this video. So I hope you keep those tips in mind, and here's some value. I haven't done that in a while, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment. Let me know what sort of topics you'd like me to talk about, and I'll see you in the next one.